Hello, welcome back and welcome to this unit on technology. So let me start with a question for you. What's the first thing you think of when you hear the expression artificial intelligence? Robots that can walk and talk? Cars that can drive themselves? Or even machines that are going to take over the world? These are all some of the things that might come to mind when talking about artificial intelligence, or AI. Your idea of what AI actually is probably heavily influenced by Hollywood. There are hundreds of films, both new and old, that have introduced us to all different kinds of robots and humanoids that are either so sweet that you want one in your family, like Pixar's WALL-E, for example, or so scary that you know you are going to have nightmares before the movie is even over. What you might not realize is that artificial intelligence machines are already all around us. Okay, maybe we are not talking about androids with perfect skin and hair that look and sound exactly like humans. We will come back to the Hollywood influence in a minute, but scientists have already brought us AI in the form of web search engines, car route planners, speech recognition, home robot vacuum cleaners, and many other things. But these seem like normal products and are not usually viewed as artificial intelligence as we would like to know it. So, what do you think so far? Can you clearly describe what AI is in the real world without letting the fantasy world of Hollywood influence you too much? It's probably not as exciting, is it? The expression artificial intelligence has been used since the invention of the computer, although the concept of a thinking machine goes back thousands of years. Since the invention of the computer more than 60 years ago, AI has been almost an obsession for thousands of scientists around the world. In the 1960s, one of the most interested parties in AI was the American military. If you consider that the Second World War was still quite fresh in their minds and tensions with countries like Russia and China were very high, the idea of using machines or robots in combat was very attractive, as it would mean less casualties in combat and more power against its enemies. A huge amount of money was invested, and expectations were high, and predictions like machines will be capable of doing any work a man can do in 20 years were very, very common. We now know that the predictions made in the 1960s were a little ambitious, as robots are only now beginning to walk and talk, but the military does use AI in many of its operations. It can be used for both simple tasks, such as loading transport planes, and complicated tasks, such as the timing and coordination of Operation Desert Storm in the Gulf War. Advanced weapons, such as cruise missiles, are equipped with technology previously studied in AI fields, such as robotics and machine vision. The Pentagon says that using this technology minimizes civilian casualties, and sometimes, but not always, releases videos of missiles flying towards their destination before neutralizing the enemy target. So where do you see the future of the military? There are already unmanned planes or drones, and we have already spoken about the so-called smart bombs. But what about using AI robots instead of soldiers in combat? Do you think it will happen one day? Are you in favor or against the idea? For example, do you think it could help save thousands of lives? Or do you think there could be a risk of misidentifying innocent people as the enemy? It's a tough one, isn't it? But ask yourself this: what do you think the military would like to do? Apart from military applications, the biggest breakthrough in robotics and AI was factory automation. Factory automation allows mass production of goods and products. Everything from cars to computers are produced in highly automated production lines. It is this process which means the prices are low and products, which were once considered a luxury, are available to the mass public to buy comparatively cheaply. Continuing with some of the positives, AI also allows us to explore space and planets like Mars, to discover strange life forms in the deepest areas of the ocean, and do hundreds of other tasks that would be physically impossible for humans to perform. AI and robots also help to eliminate dangerous or boring jobs from our lives and give us more free time to do the fun things in life. Well, that's the theory anyway. So let's take a step back and try and look at the bigger picture. It seems that one of the problems is that scientists can't agree on what artificial intelligence actually is and how it should be developed. There are two main schools of thought: strong AI and weak AI. Those that believe in strong AI consider that all human thought can be transformed into a set of mathematical operations. In other words, computers will, one day, be able to copy how our brains work. Supporters of strong AI point out that our brains only seem complex, and that, at the end of the day, the brain is just a collection of cells. These scientists are studying human psychology and neurology to find the key to how human brains work and how to develop intelligence and feelings so that it can be introduced in AI machines. So, what do you think? Do you think computers will be able to copy our brains and be able to think in the same way? What about the idea that they will have feelings? The supporters of strong AI think that computers and robots will not only be intelligent, but that they will become more intelligent than us as they evolve with time. This is where we inevitably start thinking about Hollywood films again. As I said earlier, there are numerous films and TV series that have dealt with this subject. Star Wars is an obvious classic, with characters like C-3PO working in perfect harmony with human beings. Then there is Steven Spielberg's perfectly titled AI, Artificial Intelligence, which is about a robot, that substitutes a real boy and, after pushing a special button, starts to develop human emotions. I don't want to ruin the plot in case you haven't seen it, and I highly recommend that you do, by the way, but at a certain point he is sent back to the factory where he was made in order to be destroyed. It's at this point that the concept of robot rights comes to light. The concept of robot rights brings up an important question. If robots develop feelings and emotions, should they have the same right as humans, or will they always be just machines? So far, we have spoken mainly about the good robots, but what about the idea of the baddies? Hollywood really loves the idea and has produced a number of blockbusters such as The Matrix, The Terminator, I, Robot, and the Ridley Scott cult classic Blade Runner. Again, if you haven't seen it, you really should. In films like these, the bad guy comes from a generation of computers that have the ability to think for themselves and so can live and learn and get stronger and stronger as they study their environment and the human beings around them. At some point, one of the new generation of AI robots takes that fatal step too far and starts to turn against the humans who built it. Don't forget that we are still talking about Hollywood, and these films are for our entertainment, but it does open up a number of more serious questions. If these scientists are right about their prediction that AI computers will develop the ability to think for themselves, will they also have the very human characteristics of compassion or forgiveness, for example? Humans are not perfect and are always making mistakes, but how will AI robots react? Will they simply accept an apology, or will they make us pay for our errors? Before we get too paranoid and decide to throw away our iPods and computers, we need to remember that not all scientists believe that robots will become more intelligent than humans. Those that believe in weak AI say that human thought and emotion can only be simulated by computers. They say even if a computer might seem intelligent, it is not aware of what it's doing and has no sense of self. Compared to strong AI, this concept is not very Hollywood friendly because, let's be honest, a computer reacting in a predictable and logical way is not nearly as exciting as a humanoid robot raging out of control in the streets of New York, is it? Another field that is interested in using AI is video games. Companies like Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft are investing millions of dollars to bring us new games and consoles that we can interact with to take us into the next generation of gaming. Microsoft has been particularly impressive in this field with the development of Milo. Milo is a computer-generated boy that is going to represent the norm in gaming and interactive experiences very soon. If you watch the demo, it really seems as if Milo is interacting with you, and thanks to the power of the internet and millions of users around the world, he should seem to get smarter and smarter as he learns from the users. Well, that's if Microsoft has got it right this time. Whatever happens, and whoever is right, it is clear that all of us are going to use computers, robots, and other gadgets that have been developed thanks to AI technology more and more. Who knows? Maybe one day you will even use the internet and an avatar called Simon to improve your English. But in the meantime, it's goodbye from me, Simon the Avatar. Ciao for now.